Here we go. We're on Chaf Ches Amud Aleph, and we're going to call out everyone publicly who are not here. And then we're going to call out everyone publicly for not doing Chazara. And now that everyone is fully embarrassed and feels called out, we can learn Torah. We're in the top of Chaf Ches Amud Aleph. We are holding at almost the Siyam for Chazara. Says the Gemara, so we just finished saying that what happens if the Ish, Harabayas, that was his name, shows up and they don't stand up for him? Why are you not standing up for him? Clearly, you're snoozing on the job. So what do we do? Beat him silly, burn his clothing. Beat him silly, burn his clothing. And the people would say, 3 lines from the top, what's that noise over there? You know what it is? Kol ben Levi loike, he's being beat, ubegadav nisrafim, and his clothing is burned. Sheyashin la he fell asleep. It says the Gemara, a real life story, 5 lines from the top. Rav Loz ben Yankov, Aimer Pamachas, one time, Matzu was Achi Imi, they found my mother's brother, my uncle, Yashin, Vesarfu es Ksusai. This is a direct segue from the previous Gemara, which the previous Gemara really we could put it into context of how incredible they were. Says Rav Loz ben Yaakov, says Rav Chia bar Abba, Kimatu Rav Yochanan b'hamasnita. When Rav Yochanan Kimatu, when he reached Rav Yochanan b'hamasnita to this Mishnah, when Rav Yochanan would teach that aforementioned Mishnah, the Mishnah that spoke about burning the clothing, Amar Hachi, he would remark as follows. What would he remark? Ashreyem l'rishayim. Praiseworthy are the earlier generations. L'rishayim, to the first ones. Why are they praiseworthy? Sha'afilu, that even al oines shina, on an oines, a mishap, a unavoidable circumstance of shina, of sleep, did they say, oh, we feel so bad for him, he must have been tired? No. Whoa, Moshe din, smack him silly. They took the din, they took judgment into their own hands. Shaloya, lady says, shina. If it wasn't for an Ines, meaning let's say someone purposely did something wrong, could you imagine? Alachas kama vekama, how much more so? We can almost envision, and we'll call out those at Simchas, hopefully they'll see this and they'll listen, they'll post that they heard this year actually. Imagine you stayed up late last night at a family member's Simcha, and then the next day, you're too tired, so you miss Shachris. So we can understand why you're tired, and yet what do we do to you? Beat you silly. So then the next day, imagine if you just like, I don't care. How much more so are we going to hit you? Continues the Gemara on a complete tangent. Sometimes it's just important to know how we got into the tangent, because we just spoke about praiseworthy is the Rishayim. So we said something that the earlier Dar was praised for. One of the things that the Q&A was, the question was, would our Zaydas and Babas recognize our newfangled Yiddishkeit of going to Kvarim and singing and dancing? That was the question. Think what you think might be the answer, and then listen, and you'll be blown away to the words of the Gedolim. Let's get to the Gemara. I want you all to listen. I can give you the teaser, but it's Kedai. It's Kedai. Mamish. Kedai. Drive to work. Kedai. Focus in. Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Rebbe Omer, Ezehi derech yeshara. What is the derech, the road yeshara that is straight, that is yashar? Sheyavar lo yadam. Yeah, here it goes. That a person should choose. What road should you choose? You know what road you should choose? And this is why we started off today with teichacha, with rebuke to all those who are not here. Because says today's Gemara, you know what road you should choose? Yeah, you should love es ha-teichachais, the rebuke. Why? Shekol zman, because as long as sheteichachais ba'olam, there's rebuke in the world. Nachas ruach, there's pleasantness ba'olam that comes to the world. Taiva, goodness, ubracha and blessing, ba'in la'olam comes to the world. Vira and evil, mistalekes min ha'olam. Incredible. Which, by the way, shows you messed up. No, it happens. Take it like a man. Take the rebuke and bring great things to the world. Shenemar, Where do we see this in the pasuk? V'lamoichichem yinaim, and to those who receive the rebuke, it should be pleasant. Yinaim should be pleasant. V'aleihem, and upon them, tavoi birchas toiv, should come the blessing of goodness. Which also you see something incredible. The guy who gets rebuke, he gets a bracha. You lo yitzlach, show up to shir, and I wouldn't have to rebuke you. No. Maybe he was lo yitzlach. Maybe he didn't show up to shir. But then if he takes it like a man, he gets birchas toiv. Incredible, incredible Gemara. Says the Gemara Vayter. V'yesh Imrim, and some say that's the first pshat. So if I ask you, what is the derech yeshara? Which road should he go on? The road is loving rebuke. Which, by the way, to put this in broad strokes, what does this mean in broad strokes? Embrace criticism. Every businessman knows this. Ask any billionaire. Millionaires also.
Or Talmud Chacham.
That's for sure. But I'm saying even secular. Talmud Chacham is pashut. It's pashut. Any normal yid, it's pashut that you needed to be able to take muscle. I'm saying even in the secular world, in the world of gaiva, no one tells me what to do. Talk to anyone who's made it, and they'll tell you, no, Father, you got to learn how to listen to people. You listen to people, you take it, you'll become something great. Says the Gemara V'yeshaimrim, and some say a second shot. Yachazik, you should strengthen, be chazak, be strong, be'emuna yisera, with extra emuna, with extra faith. This is another derech yeshara. This is another straight path to choose. So the first one was to embrace rebuke, and the second one is the path of extra emuna, extra faith. Some say maybe over here it means integrity, as we're going to see. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Einai, my eyes. B'ne'em aretz are to those who have faith in the land. L'sheves imadi. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu talking, and says Hashem, quoted by King David himself, that my eyes are to those who have emunah. Einai, my eyes. B'ne'em eretz l'sheves imadi, and they dwell with me. Incredible. So a lot of emunah, dwell with God. Amar Rav Shmuel Nachmani, Amar Rav Yoina son. We're not done yet. So we spoke about accepting rebuke. But when you accept rebuke, there's also the giver of the rebuke. Says the Gemara, very important. Because we're all very quick to jump on the, I'll give teichacha. We're all very good at giving teichacha, right? Says the Gemara, it has to be l'shem shamayim. For the sake of heaven, then, you know what you get? Zoicha, you merit l'chelkoi, to the portion shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, moichiach adam acharai. That one who gives teichacha acharai should be after me. V'loi oid, and not only that. So what's I was saying? So acharai, after me, indicates that you're with Hashem. You're in the chelik of Hashem. If you're acharai, you're right behind God. And not only that, alav, and this is an incredible line. Moishchan literally means it draws. It draws upon him, again, upon whom? The guy giving rebuke, okay? So that Rebbe who's telling the Talmud, where were you for Shachris? Where were you for Shir? Come on, let's get our act together. What does he get? Moishchan alav, it's drawn upon him. Chut shel chesed, a strand of kindness. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Chen, favor or grace, yimotzei mimachalik lashain. So what's incredible? What's incredible is you would think that the last thing that the guy who gives teichacha gets is chut shel chesed. Tell me he gets olam haba. Tell me he gets bracha. He gets chut shel chesed. That's like the one thing I would think he doesn't get, right? He gets hate. So there's some supernatural, otherworldly element of chesed that he gets. Okay, that was a Gadata. It was a lot of lines, but it was a Gadata. Because there was a lot of lines, because it was Gadata, and because last night was a snowstorm, and because no one's here tonight, we're going to go weiter. Is that okay? Let's go. Sure. We'll be able to chazer a little further. Yeah, we're good? Okay, let's go a little further. Matzai no. One more shtickle Gemara. Matzai no. I will be honest. I have a yitzhahara to try to finish by Purim, so we can have a goal to chazer, and no, a party also, but to chazer over Purim. Chazer over Purim.
To learn, no?
Shalom Aleichem. No, the Sholech wasn't to you. That was the Klal Yisrael. That was the Klal Yisrael. It's like no, we're in a place. It's like it's a Yiddish to learn a verb like Sholech. But I will tell you, just to counteract, I'll tell you a Ma'ir Maisa, which I don't know if I should say it in public, but I'll do it anyways.
Yeah. What was it, really?
Apparently in Radin, they came to the Chafetz Chaim. They wanted to put on a spiel. They put on a spiel. Purim spiel. Then they came to the Chafetz Chaim and they said, if you want to cancel the spiel, because you want to have Seder. Chafetz Chaim said, no, it's not the Avodah Purim. So, it's a balance. It's a balance. I mean, it's a balance. It's a balance. But I think there's time for both. So that's really, the truth is, without going too fast, I do have a taiva to finish, so that over the Heilige Yom Tov of Purim, and his Esther, the first day of Purim, the second day of Purim, the hangover of Purim,
breakfast
and all day.
Breakfast Purim morning.
There we go.
No?
Whenever I told you, we'll talk about that after. Let's learn a little bit more. And yeah, I would love to have Leilam over whenever Leilam could get their act together, which, as we see, is difficult for a Tuesday night, let alone. You think we have people listening? No, it's because we have 200 people at the shiur, and it's just hard to coordinate the masses.
That's usually get a night, no?
Matzai no. With that one, we'll get more. Matzai no. You find the door closed of the
bathroom
toilet. Yoidea, you know that there's someone inside. Mishu writes a liter mesmezbech. Then the Mishnah concluded. The end of the Mishnah said, "Let's remind ourselves. If you don't remember, I won't throw you out because it's been a while. But we should have just done chazara of this Mishnah. What does the Mishnah end off and say? Whoever wants to do the Chumas Hadesh, what does he do? Gets up early. But then it gets up early. Does what? Goes to the mikveh.
Then waits his raffle.
Goes to mikveh. Then the mamuna comes and says, "Whoever woke up early, let's do raffle." So we spoke out the Mishnah. We spoke out that the Mishnah sounds a little bit funny. On one end, it sounds like whoever wants to do it, get up and you get to do it. Then it says, go join a raffle. Which one is it? Is it a raffle or do you get to do it? That is today's Gemara's kasha. Says the Gemara, Hagufa kasha. The Mishnah, this itself is a question. Amrit, you said, Misha who writes, the one that wants liter mesmezbech to the Chumas Hadesh and separation of the ashes. Mashkin gets up early, v'toivel, and goes to the mikvah. Ad shelo yavoy hamimayne. Before the mamayne comes, alma. So what do we see? Whoever wants. Lav b'payis. Payis is a lottery, very important word. If you know that, it might be that you're a gambler from your Eretz Yisrael days and you knew what the payis was. If you don't know that, then it's great. Lav b'payis talya milsa. Ayin sham. Anyone who has a gambling problem, please. Lav b'payis. There you go. Lav b'payis talya milsa. We don't charge for the extra plugs. Lav b'payis talya milsa. It is not dependent upon a raffle. Lav b'payis talya milsa. It is dependent. It is not dependent on a raffle. Why? It said whoever wants does it. V'hadar, and then Tani, it says, Yavoy, let him come. V'yafayis, and do the payis, and do the raffle. Alma, b'payis talya milsa. Question mark. So what is it? Yay or nay? Stira, kasha of the Gemara. Amar Abaye, says Abaye. Two truths. Teretz number one. Like kasha. Why not? Kan, over here, koidem takana, is before the takana. The kan over here is la'achar takana, after the takana. What does that mean? So before we see what the takana was, what it means in broad strokes is the Mishnah is referring to two parts in history. One part was, it used to be whoever wanted was able to do it. Koidem takana, before the takana. And then they made a takana for some reason that we're about to see, and therefore they had to have a lottery. What is that reason? Ditinan, as we learned in a Mishnah, Barishain in the beginning. Kol Misha Roitza, anyone that wants Litreim Esam Mizbech to do the Chumas Hadesh and the separation of the ash, Toirim, he's allowed to do it. You get up early, go to the Mickey, and go do it. What's the problem? Go do the Chumas Hadesh. But what happens if all of us woke up and we all want to do it? So what do we do now? Bizman, at a time, Shehein Mirubin, that there's a lot of people vying for the opportunity of the Chumas Hadeshin. So what do? Have a race. Braitzin, you run. Va'ilin, and you go up. Bikevesh, up the ramp. Reminder, The ramp is very, very large. We're talking, I don't remember the exact number. We'll look afterwards. Was it 30 amas, 16 amas? It's like 20, 30 feet. It's a massive ramp. It goes up many feet. The Mizbeach was a huge structure. Afterwards, we'll pull up a picture just so, like, I think in our brains, we think, yeah, it's a little altar. No, it's this massive ramp. So they ran up the ramp. Okay. Whoever came before his friend, call anyone, hakoidim that came earlier as chaveiroi, betoich arba amos, within 4 amos, zacha. Meaning what? Whoever gets there first, steal the salami. You get there first, it's yours. Hayushnayim shavin. But let's say we have a tayed first. What's the din? Then Hamimayna, Vimayna, Omer Lahem would tell them, Hitzbiu, let's perform a raffle. Hitzbiu literally means stick out a finger. Not that finger, stick out a finger. Umahein moitziin, and what finger would they stick out? Achas, either one finger, oishtayim, or 2 fingers. Ve'ein moitziin goydel b'mikdash. They would never stick out. The goydel is the thumb. We'll say why in a moment. Let's first get translation. So you say, let's do a raffle.
Football.
Yeah.
Let's do a raffle. Everyone's thinking 1 finger, 2 fingers. Is that what you do? And you count? That's a different football?
No, 1 or 2 behind your back.
Oh, this is, and they would go around in a circle. They choose a number and they'd count. Good. Says the Gemara. Let's finish up the story. Maisa, there was a story. What happened? Beis HaYeshavim. There were 2 people that are there at the same time. So what do? Ruts, and they ran. V'oilim b'kevesh. That's it. It's a race to the top. Imagine it's like early in the morning. Remember, this is like before daybreak. So it's early in the morning. You get up early. You jump in the mic. You're about to do it, and you see another guy coming. So what do? Start running. So what do you do when 2 people run and you're a Jew? And that's not better. Trip is nothing. Push. V'dochav echad me'emes chaveiroi. Pushed his friend. V'nishbara ragloi, and it broke his leg. Ukshara'u Bezdin saw this was getting veiled. Shayupayim lidei sakana. Hiskinu, they made a takana. Shelo Yehutoimin as a mizbeach. They would not do the Chumas Adashen Ella Bipayis, only with a lottery. Last eretz. Rava Amar, and we have a lot to chazer. ID lachar takana. This and this, ID, this and this. Both parts of the Mishnah were after the takana. So then how do we reconcile the 2 parts of the Mishnah? Says Rava, which I think when we learned it the first time, someone here even suggested, Vahachi Katani, and this is what the Mishnah means. Mishehu Roitze, the one that wants Lavai to come, Ulepayis, and to be part of the lottery, then Mashkim get up early, v'toivel, and go to the mikvah, achlo yavam. Meaning, just read the whole Mishnah as 1 sentence. Not get up and go to the mikvah, go do a lottery. No, it means whoever wants to be part of the lottery, get up and go to the mikvah. Okay, we have a ton to chazer. Let's push for 2. Let's push for 2. 2 times. 2 times chav chesam alf.